Ever since the beginning of the 1980s, China does not want to use a war to solve this unification problem.
You don't want to use a war, but you're surrounding it with ships, drones, cyber attacks, and making lots of threats. Your defense minister said anyone who dares to pursue independence for Taiwan will be crushed into pieces and face destruction. Sounds like a truly peaceful guy.
That's a real statement, because if the separatists really want to push the edge of the envelope with the aid of some big country, for example, which wants to use Taiwan as a proxy in its own geopolitical rivalry against China, then wait until you see what will happen. Reunification will be achieved, and China is the only permanent member of the United Nations Security Council which has not yet achieved a complete reunification.
I'm always amused with this phrase reunification, because if it's one China, then clearly it's not one China. Clearly you're accepting by definition if you need to reunify it. They are doing their own thing. And why this obsession with Taiwan? You are a country of 3.7 million square miles, a population 60 times that of Taiwan, economy 20 times the size of Taiwan. Why are you obsessed with Taiwan? Why not just leave them be?
In terms of defending China's sovereignty and territorial integrity, any inch of land is not 1 inch too much. Any one single person is not one person too many. So we need to achieve reunification.
Even though they don't want to be part of your country. 12% of the people of Taiwan say they want to reunify with China. 12%. You can't get more unpopular than that in that.
Mehdi, it's not up to the people in Taiwan to decide about the one China policy.
You're very blunt in your disregard for people's views, freedoms, dignity. You say that you don't care about what they think. You've called Uyghurs in China's Xinjiang province your brothers and sisters. How do you feel about the fact that at least 500,000, some say more, of your brothers and sisters are being detained in camps by the Chinese government? That's 5% of the adult Uyghur population, one of the highest imprisonment detention rates in the world.
Mehdi, the Uyghurs are a proud ethnic group, one of the 56 ethnic nationalities in China. The Uyghurs, as far as I'm concerned, are my true brothers and sisters. I know many of them. I travel to Xinjiang regularly, and I talk to many of the Uyghurs. Now, if anyone is serious about accusing China of practicing mass injustice to the Uyghurs, give me the evidence.
Human Rights Watch say 500,000 people detained over the years in recent years.
You keep quote Human Rights Watch, and I tell you...
Do you know where they got those numbers from?
I don't know.
Can I tell you?
I don't know.
I thought you were the expert on. You've been to Xinjiang. You've spoken to Uyghurs. You never heard these numbers?
I do not know where did they get the source.
So their source is the Xinjiang High People's Procuratorate, which has published its own statistics, Xinjiang official body, which says it's convicted 540,826 people prosecuted in the region since 2017. The United Nations Office for Human Rights looked at satellite footage. They say 10 to 20% of the population. Amnesty estimates 1 million people in camps. 500,000 is a conservative number.
Mehdi, if you quote that organization, please be assured that that organization has been completely discredited for the false information they came up with.
I love this game we're playing. You give me a source, I give you a source. They're discredited. They've said falsehoods.
Mehdi,
how can let me ask you a question. How many people are in detention in Xinjiang? You give me a number.
Listen. If you look at Xinjiang,
you give me a number.
If you look at, I do not have the number.
Why not?
Yeah.
Hold on. You can't say it's not 500,000 and then say you don't have a number. I have a number. I have sources. How many people do you think are detained?
Let me give you my reason.
No.
I go to Xinjiang a lot. I travel almost
So they're your brothers and sisters.
Xinjiang.
You go there a lot, but you can't tell me how many people are in detention.
Listen, they are happier. They enjoy their life. They enjoy their Muslim practices and traditions. Listen.
How many people are in detention, Victor?
Mehdi, let me be philosophical.
No, don't be philosophical. Be numerical.
No.
How many people are in detention? You said no to 500,000. How about let's let 250,000.
Let me finish my point.
Nope. You answer the question. You can't filibuster, Victor, on the show.
If anyone
how many
promotes
people do you
Xinjiang
think
independence, they will be dealt with in
Got
court.
it. How many of them are in court? How many in detention?
A very small minority.
So you don't have a number. You say they're all happy, but you won't let in independent investigators. You won't let in journalists to go there.
Why not?
They're not allowed to go there.
I will be happy to escort you to Xinjiang.
Really?
I can make that promise.
Really?
I will speak to the Chinese government.
Here's the problem,
to
Victor.
the Chinese
I don't
embassy.
want to escort. I don't want minders. I want to go freely. Will you allow that?
I do not make that decision.
Oh! A moment ago, you were going to make all sorts of interruptions. Suddenly I said, let me go freely and speak to Uyghurs freely. Can I do that with no minders?
I'll be happy.
No Chinese government escort.
I will be happy to make your case.
Oh, just now you said you'd organise it, now we're back. Make a case.
Make
you can't
a case.
guarantee. I also live here in the UK, I'm British. Here you have Rishi Sunak, the former Prime Minister, was called a pint-sized loser by a Labour politician. No one in China has that kind of freedom to talk about their government, to talk about President Xi Jinping in that way. You can't say anything like that. You wouldn't dare say anything like that because you know what will happen to you when you go home. You know what will happen to your family. That's what China is.
Mehdi, if you do anything, write anything, email or chat to your friends about taking anything action against, let's say, Prime Minister of Britain, President of the United States,
I didn't say that.
You'll be dealt with
That's
very
what I said.
swiftly.
Victor, you're a master of straw man. That's not what I said. I said Rishi Sunak was called a pint-sized loser. Would you call Xi Jinping a pint-sized loser?
Mehdi, each country has different sensitivities. In UK...
So you're admitting you can't criticize the Chinese government?
No. You can criticize the government if you are positive in your attitude.
You can criticize the government if you're positive.
Yes.
Is that the new philosophy?
No, if you can come up with your...
You've got to come up with nice insults.
No.
What then?
Constructive advice.
Constructive advice.
For example,
oh, I'm loving
in dealing with the aging population, what should be the government do? What should this governor should do?
But you can't say the president's lied. He's a liar.
No, you will be dealt with very swiftly in China. You cannot say that.
That is the most honest thing you've said tonight. Yes. Everyone knows Xi Jinping has centralized power, consolidated power, got rid of term limits. You say there's a way to get rid of him, but there isn't actually a legal way to get rid of him. He's in power for life and he likes being a dictator. Why are we pretending?
Mehdi, allow me to remind you, the Communist Party of China, which is the ruling party of China, has a membership of up to 100 million people. Yeah. It's well structured. Every province, every state-owned enterprise, etc., will have a party cell.
There's no division or debate within the Chinese Communist Party.
Listen to me. No single person in China can dictate to a population of 1.4 billion people and 100 million membership of the Communist Party of China.
Okay, let's test that.
That's a mission impossible.
Let's test that proposition. The president won a vote last year. Won a vote. I'll put that in air quotes. Do you know the tally of last year's presidential vote in favor of Xi Jinping by the National People's Congress? Part of that structure you just advertised to us. What was the vote? Can you tell our audience here?
I think it's up to about 100%. That doesn't...
2,952 to 0.
Yes, that's exactly what I said.
Could you not find a few people just to make it look a little even? One or two?
Mehdi, it's not surprising. It's not surprising.
2,952 to 0. That's one-man rule, my friend.
In the Chinese system, everyone supports the Chinese president.
You just told us 10 seconds ago there's this huge system, a big party, one guy, and then you're like, oh no, but everyone supports him. 0 votes against him. One person out of 3,000 couldn't say, Xi Jinping, not my guy. One.
What if he is the guy for all the Communist Party of China? You never know.
Well, if that's the case, then your entire first answer is redundant because it doesn't matter if there's 100 million people. No. They all have to follow the leader.
No, he does command huge respect among the Chinese people as well as
you say respect, I say fear. Do you know how many names were on the ballot papers that were given in 2013? How many names were on the ballot paper when they went to choose the president? Can you tell our audience?
I think there is only one candidate.
Yeah, there were no other names. That's a real secure leader. A guy who knows he has the confidence of his people. You get to vote, but only for me, and none of you can actually vote against me.
Mehdi, we do not want to end up in a situation with 6 prime ministers in 80 years.
Yeah. So you prefer a dictatorship?
No, we prefer a system that works for the benefit of the Chinese people.
I've not said a word about what works or not. You got great economic growth.
Look at the
But you're a dictatorship.
Growth. There is no dictatorship, Mehdi.
You just admitted that there's no name on the ballot paper, no votes against him, and they all just follow him. That's a dictatorship.
When the king succeeds the queen, how many candidates are there on the ballot paper?
How many?
Does that make Britain not a democracy?
Well, you're asking the wrong guy. I'm a Republican, so I think we should be a full democracy and get rid of the monarchy. And I can say that here. You can't say that in China.
You cannot take any action against that.
Yes, I can, actually. I can go out on the street, I can hold up a placard and say, let's get rid of King Charles. I can create a whole protest outside Buckingham Palace. You can't do that in China. You can't even put one other person's name on a ballot paper. That's how insecure your leader is.
Mehdi.
No, you can't. You keep dodging. 1 minute you say, it's not a dictatorship. Then I show you it is. You say, but it's working. We've got growth. You are the president of China. You're elected without any opponents, no names on the ballot paper, 0 votes against you. You put your name in the Constitution. 6-year-olds are taught about Xi Jinping thought in primary school. That is not just a dictatorship, that is a cult of personality.
I don't think China believes in personal.
So why are 6-year-olds learning about Xi Jinping thought? I'm pretty sure no 6-year-olds learned about Liz Truss's mini budget.
In China, the 4 wheels of a car all lined up in one direction.
Well, they don't.
Going forward.
Well, they don't, Victor. Let me give you an example.
That's the Chinese way of doing it.
Former Foreign Minister Qin Gang was removed from his post and has not been seen in public since June 2023. A few months later, China's Defense Minister, General Li Shangfu, disappeared from public view for months, has now been expelled from the party, accused of corruption. That's at least 2 ministers that disappeared just in the last year. With apologies to Oscar Wilde, to lose 1 minister might be unfortunate. To lose 2 is careless, is it not?
Do you know the point I want to make? This means China is really merciless in dealing with corruption of all kinds, even among the highest.
Your foreign minister and defense minister. Imagine Antony Blinken and Lloyd Austin just disappeared tomorrow. We don't know where they are. We've never seen them again. That's not normal, Victor.
Listen, corruption is rampant in China.
How do we know they're corrupt? They just disappeared. Where's the trial? Where's the trial, Victor?
Finish my point. Corruption of all kinds in China need to be dealt with.
So where's the trial?
Mercilessness.
So where's the trial? Where's the trial of the former foreign minister? We don't even know where he is.
Mehdi, those things you don't know doesn't mean doesn't happen.
Where is the trial for this man you're just accusing of corruption?
Qin Gang was my good friend for more than 20 years.
Where is he then?
He is involved in corruption.
Where is he?
And he is dealt with very swiftly.
Where is he, Victor?
Regardless of
He's your good friend. You don't know where he is.
Regardless
where
of the
is the former foreign minister of China?
Position.
This is not a hard question. We're not asking where Rehan's brother in the middle of Xinjiang is that you can dodge. Where is the former foreign minister of China who disappeared? And by the way, he wasn't accused of corruption. The spokesman came out and said he has health reasons. Then corruption came later, by the way. Where did he go, your friend?
That means there is a process. And the process
starts with one lie, that he's ill, and then the next lie is he's corrupt.
He may be ill. You never know.
I mean, he's probably ill after he's been in a Chinese prison.
He may be ill now. You never know.
Exactly.
But at least Qin Gang lost his job
Victor,
because of his corruption.
Last question.
That's the point.
Where is he?
He's somewhere in China. You will never see him. He is among the 1.4 billion people.
And no, it's not just him. There's many other people who have disappeared. The previous defense minister disappeared. The Ministry of Industry and Technology disappeared. The former Interpol president disappeared. In China, you just disappear if they don't like you. That's the rule of law in China.
I'm so happy they disappear, because if they keep doing their job, they will bring greater disaster.
Victor, be careful what you wish for, because everyone's watching this show. And if you get something wrong tonight, maybe you disappear.
If I disappear, I hope you will bail me out.
My question is, as a dissident from Hong Kong, knowing that I cannot express freely in Hong Kong or in the UK without risking other people in trouble, I also know that you just now made claims about there's free speech in China, and it's possible to criticize the Chinese government just now again. Can you please demonstrate that free speech and tell us what are Xi Jinping's 2 worst mistakes in the past 5 years?
Great question.
If you can demonstrate to us that it's okay to criticize Xi Jinping, the Chinese government, and China, or even just say Xi Jinping kind of resembles Winnie the Pooh, would be good enough for me. Thank you.
Victor, do you want to take that question?
Well, thank you. I would say China need to make more prompt, take more prompt actions in dealing with the dramatic aging population in China and the dramatic demographic decline.
Do you think Xi Jinping's to blame for not being fast enough on aging?
No, I think the whole Chinese government, including the Central Committee, State Council.
My name is Sonam Prazi. I would like to ask you a question on Tibet. I was born in Tibet before the Chinese invasion of Tibet. Unfortunately, 1.2 million Tibetans have died since, and we have been made refugees. My question is, Tibet, after 74 years of Chinese rule, is still under lockdown. No journalists, no individual tourists, even Tibetans are not allowed to see their families. What is China afraid of to keep Tibet in such a tight control and Tibetans in such an inhuman existence in our own country?
Sir, ever since the Yuan dynasty, if not even earlier, Tibet has been part of China. Through different dynasties, different historical periods, I can assure you, during your lifetime and mine, Tibet will always be part of China.
Why are you so insistent
therefore,
on ruling places that don't want to be ruled by China?
No, Tibet is
we've been
part
through
of
Tibet,
China.
Taiwan, they're not happy in Xinjiang.
Tibet being part of China doesn't depend on whether you like it or not. It's a megatrend of our time.
A megatrend.
And you need to accept that before you will feel free to go back to China,
So you don't
visit Tibet.
You sound like you're threatening the man.
No, I'm not.
You said you have to accept that before you can go back. He's from
peace.
that place.
You live in peace in Britain, that's good.
But he's a refugee.
But if you want to go back to Tibet, acknowledge Tibet is part of China, period.
And what if he doesn't? He can't go back to his home.
You cannot go back. And Taiwan is part of China, Tibet is part of China, and Xinjiang is part of China, period.
And even if the people there don't want to be part of it, you don't give a damn.
The majority of the people live happily as
How do we
Chinese
know?
citizens.
Did you do a vote? Could we do a show like this? Could I interview you like this? Could Rehan come be on a panel like this in Beijing, in, say, the Beijing International Convention Center? Could we do a show like this? Audience members freely ask questions. You take questions from everyone. No one's vetted. No one's threatened. Could we do this in Beijing?
Mehdi, if you ask me to line up all the support, you will do that. Really, I can assure you that.
A show where every audience member gets to speak freely. No one turns up at their house afterwards.
For many European countries, you do not need a visa to go to China. Pick up your luggage
No, I'm
and
not
buy
asking,
a ticket.
I'm not asking
Fly to
foreigners.
Beijing.
Victor, I'm not asking foreigners to come. I'm saying could a Chinese audience turn up and ask whatever they want, criticize Xi Jinping, criticize the government, ask you questions, talk about Uyghurs. Could you do it in Beijing?
Mehdi, in China, don't criticize our president.
So we couldn't do this show?
Unless you
Well, I'm
have
glad you
a
answered the
very
question.
positive, constructive proposal to make.